Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And this time, you guys, our wonderful listeners, have sent us on a quest to uncover the history of the Indian stock market.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, it looks really fascinating, actually.
It
We've got
does.
articles, we've got some good old Wikipedia.
Ah, good old Wikipedia.
We're going to trace its journey from the early days all the way to its current global standing, which I'm already getting some serious interesting nuggets just glancing through this material.
Always fun.
Yeah, so let's dive right in, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're talking about the Indian stock market.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, maybe, I don't know, I could be wrong, assume that it's a relatively recent phenomenon,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes way back, way further than most people realize.
It really does.
I'm talking 18th century India,
Wow.
the era of the East India Company.
Yeah.
So those traders who were out there focused on tea and spices,
Yeah.
turns out they were also dabbling in loan securities, which kind of unintentionally set the stage for this financial ecosystem that would emerge.
So they were kind of laying the groundwork even though they weren't setting out to, create a stock market.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think they were just kind of,
Doing their thing.
doing their thing, looking after their own interests, but in doing so, they were kind of, setting up the foundation.
Yeah.
So we've got those early seeds planted, and things really start to take off in the 1830s in Bombay, which we know today is Mumbai.
Right.
And we start to see shares of banks and cotton presses being traded.
It was a booming time for those industries.
It was.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone wanted a piece of the action.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like, I mean, we've seen these parallels throughout history, haven't we?
Yeah.
Where you have certain industries that just explode.
Yeah, and everybody wants to get in on it.
Exactly. And then in 1850, we hit a pretty big milestone, a pivotal moment.
Okay.
I want you to picture this. A group of brokers gathering under the Bombay sun at Horniman Circle.
Nice.
This is the birth of India's very first stock exchange.
It's a humble beginning, isn't it?
It is. It's very humble, but so monumental at the same time.
Yeah, because it marks that shift from these informal dealings to a more structured system.
Absolutely.
A system for actually trading securities, which, as you said, laid the foundation for, what we know today as the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Right. And just a few years later,
Yeah.
1874, the legendary Dalal Street comes into the picture.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's not just an address. It's become like the Wall Street of India, hasn't it?
Right. It's like the symbolic heart of Indian finance. Like you say, just like Wall Street is for the U.S.
Yeah, and to add yet another layer of, I guess, formality,
Okay.
in 1875,
Mm-hmm.
the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association was established.
Okay.
Today,
Yeah.
we know it as the BSE, the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Wow. What a legacy.
Right. It's amazing to think about how, something that started so humbly way back then
Yeah.
has grown into this
Massive institution.
this massive institution.
That it is today.
Yeah,
And this formalization was really important for its development, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. Absolutely.
It gave it structure, rules, legitimacy,
Right.
which, were essential for attracting more participants and encouraging growth.
Of course, because, I mean, as we've discussed before on the show, in any market,
Yeah.
any sort of trading of anything,
Yeah.
you need to have some sort of regulation.
Yeah, you need some rules of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's, chaos.
The Wild West.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Bombay, as it was known then, wasn't the only city on the action, right?
Oh, of course not.
You had exchanges popping up in Ahmedabad,
Mm-hmm.
Calcutta, Madras,
Yeah.
but the BSE remained the dominant force.
Yeah, it makes sense, though, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, Bombay, or Mumbai as we know it today,
Right.
was already becoming India's commercial hub.
Yeah, the center of everything.
And it's interesting how those things kind of go hand in hand, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Economic forces have a way of, shaping history.
Yeah, it's all intertwined. And then in 1956,
Yeah, okay.
a pivotal year, India takes a major step forward in regulating its stock market.
Oh, okay.
We see the enactment of the Securities Contract Regulation Act.
Okay.
And this is where India really starts to lay down the law for stock trading.
So it was getting serious.
It was getting serious. Yeah, it wasn't just about, trading anymore.
Yeah,
It was about creating a regulated and fair market for everybody.
which is, essential for long-term growth and stability.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, like, I was reading that, there was a lot of manipulation,
Yeah.
lack of transparency.
Yeah. No oversight. Nobody really knew what was going
It
on.
was kind of like, the Wild West, as you
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
So this act was a game changer.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So we're kind of going through this evolution.
Yeah.
And then in 1964, we see the arrival of the Unit Trust of India, or UTI.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
So this is interesting because they launched India's first mutual fund
Oh, wow. Okay.
called the US 64 scheme.
Okay.
And by 1988, this mutual fund, this scheme, had raised a whopping 6,400 crore rupees.
That's massive.
It is massive.
So what was the significance of introducing mutual funds?
Well, it was a huge step in what we call democratizing investing in India.
I see.
Because before mutual funds came along, investing in the stock market was often seen as something only like wealthy individuals could do.
Right. It was a rich man's game.
Exactly. But mutual funds,
More accessible.
yeah, because they pooled money from smaller investors.
Right. So you could get in even if you didn't have a lot of capital.
Right, which allowed more people to kind of participate in the market's growth.
That makes
And I think that's a really important aspect of, the development of any stock market.
Yeah, you want people to feel like they have a stake in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for a story that really captures the public imagination,
Okay.
let's fast forward to 1977
Okay.
and the rise of Reliance Industries.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Reliance.
Yeah, led by the very ambitious Dhirubhai Ambani.
Ambitious. That's an understatement.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is a visionary.
He was.
Yeah.
And their IPO created a frenzy. Like, people were literally lining up to get a piece of the Reliance pie.
So it really captured the public's attention.
It did.
Yeah.
And it's more than just a successful fundraising event. It was like a cultural shift in India.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Dhirubhai Ambani's vision and the company's rapid growth, it just captivated people,
So everybody was talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Equity suddenly became a household word,
Oh, wow.
and a whole new wave of investors entered the market.
It was like a cultural phenomenon.
It really was. It was. And it was a very, very big deal.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and then in 1986, we had two big things happening.
Okay.
So first off, the BSE Sensex is born.
Okay, the Sensex.
Yeah, and this is that 30-share index that we still use today, don't we?
Yeah, to track the market's performance.
Right.
It's like the Dow Jones of India.
Yeah, it's like, we're kind of taking the temperature of the Indian economy.
Yeah, seeing how those top 30 companies are doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the creation of the Sensex was, I think, crucial at that point.
It was, because before that, there wasn't really a standardized way to measure how the market was doing as a whole.
Right. It was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you had individual stocks going up and down,
Right.
but there wasn't that single number that told you, okay, the market is up today or the market is down today.
Right. And it also allowed investors to kind of, track their own investments, right?
Yeah, compare their portfolios to the benchmark.
Exactly. And make more informed decisions.
Exactly. It was a vital step.
It was. And the second big thing that happens in 1986 is,
Okay, what's that?
well, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, towards the late 1980s, some challenges started to emerge.
Okay.
We start to see a lack of transparency,
Okay.
outdated settlement systems.
Yeah, so things weren't keeping up with the growth, basically.
They weren't, and there was this growing need for better oversight.
Like the market was maturing.
Yeah,
And it needed more sophisticated regulation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it became clear that the market was kind of ready for a major upgrade.
Yeah, an overhaul.
Yeah, exactly.
So a system upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings us to,
SEBI?
yeah, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, which was established in 1988.
Okay.
Now, this is the regulatory body that we still have today.
Right.
And their job is to keep the market in check,
Mm-hmm.
ensure fairness and transparency.
So like a watchdog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's a little fun fact.
Okay.
SEBI didn't actually get full statutory power until 1992.
Oh, really?
So even for the good guys,
It takes time to establish real authority.
it takes time to kind of set things up and gain the trust and the authority to really,
Yeah, to enforce the rules.
to enforce the rules. And
That's it.
1992 brings us a new player to the game,
Oh, okay. Who's that?
the National Stock Exchange of India Limited,
Okay.
or NSE.
NSE, got it.
And this coincides with a massive surge in public interest in the market.
Oh, okay. Why was that?
Well, it was fueled by a pretty dramatic bull market,
Uh-huh.
which was orchestrated by a character, and he really was a character,
Okay.
a man named Harshad Mehta.
Oh, I think I've heard of him.
Have you?
Yeah.
I think he was a broker.
Yeah.
But he was involved in some,
Shady dealings.
yeah, shall we say.
Okay.
But that's a story for another deep dive, maybe.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time.
We'll save that one. But the arrival of the NSE and the Harshad Mehta story are kind of intertwined in a way.
I see. They're both part of the same chapter of the Indian stock market's evolution.
There are. They are. And they bring these new dynamics,
Yeah.
new challenges, new lessons that kind of shape the market that we see today.
So it wasn't just about competition between the exchanges.
It
It
wasn't.
was also about, these broader market forces at play.
Exactly. Yeah. The NSE wasn't just about competition, though.
Okay.
They were about innovation.
Okay.
So in 1994, they launched a fully automated electronic trading system,
Wow.
which was a major leap forward for India at that time.
Yeah, it was a sign that they were embracing technology, trying to modernize the stock market.
Absolutely. And it made trading faster, reduced errors,
Yeah.
opened up the market to a wider range of participants.
So it was a win-win all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to kind of cap off this really exciting decade,
Okay.
we have the birth of the Nifty 50 index in 1996.
The Nifty 50. Okay.
It's like the BSE, the Sensex, but for the NSE, tracking the performance of 50 major companies listed on that exchange.
So it's another benchmark for investors.
Exactly. And it provided kind of another valuable tool for understanding and analyzing the market.
Yeah, because you can track different segments of the market, get a more comprehensive view.
Yeah, and it's become, along with the Sensex, kind of
Yeah.
the key benchmark that everybody looks at, and analysts and,
Right.
you know.
It's how you judge the health of the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Right.
From very humble beginnings to this really sophisticated high-tech trading. That's the story of the Indian stock market.
At least up to the 20th century.
Up through the 20th century, exactly, yeah.
That's a lot to take in.
I know, right? We've covered 200 years?
Yeah, it's incredible how much has happened.
It is, but hold on, because we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's a lot more, yeah, because in part 2, we're going to explore how this market transformed into the global powerhouse that it is today.
Can't wait.
So stay tuned.
I'm hooked.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the history of the Indian stock market.
So we left off at kind of the turn of the century, right? The cusp of a new millennium.
Yeah, the 21st century was just around the corner.
Exactly.
Right.
And we saw how the Indian stock market had already come such a long way from those early gatherings to the advent of electronic trading.
Yeah, from those humble beginnings to a pretty sophisticated system.
Yeah, but what I find really fascinating is how it transformed into this global force
Oh, absolutely.
in the 21st century.
The growth has been phenomenal.
It has. It really has.
Today, the Indian stock market is among the top 5 globally
Wow.
in terms of market capitalization.
That's incredible.
It is. It speaks volumes about the increasing confidence that investors have in the Indian economy.
It's a sign that, yeah, like you say, India has really kind of arrived on the global stage.
Yeah, they're a major player now.
Yeah, and to really kind of get a sense of the scale of this growth, let's look at some numbers.
Okay, I like numbers.
So the Sensex, for instance, has delivered an average annual growth rate of about 15% over the past 20 years.
15%, that's impressive.
It is. It's very impressive.
Over 2 decades.
Yeah, and that's what we call a GR, right?
Yeah, compounded annual growth rate.
Exactly. And that's a key metric that a lot of investors use to assess long-term performance.
It gives you a good sense of how an investment has performed over time.
Yeah, and 15% say NGR over 2 decades.
That's consistent and robust growth.
It's huge.
Yeah, and it's attracted both domestic and international investors.
It has. It's fueled the market's expansion.
It's a virtuous cycle, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And now remember SEBI.
Our market regulator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They played a key role in shaping this landscape, too.
Okay, how so?
So back in 2012, SEBI initiated a consolidation of smaller exchanges.
So they were trying to streamline the market.
Exactly. And it kind of brought the number of recognized stock exchanges down to just 7.
Oh, wow. So there used to be a lot more.
Yeah. And I think this move was really strategic.
It makes sense. It's about improving efficiency and strengthening oversight.
Exactly. And by kind of focusing resources on the most robust exchanges.
Right.
SEBI kind of enhanced the overall stability and integrity of the Indian stock market.
So it was a win-win for everyone.
It was. So who were the major players?
Yeah, who are we talking about here?
Well, obviously, the BSE and the NSE are the, undisputed giants.
Right. They're the ones we've been talking about.
Yeah, they lead the pack in terms of market share and influence.
Okay.
But we also have the Calcutta Stock Exchange, the Magad Stock Exchange,
Okay.
the Metropolitan Stock Exchange of India, the India International Exchange, and the NSE IFSC.
So there's a good mix of regional and national exchanges.
There is, yeah. And I think the presence of these other exchanges adds, like, diversity to the market.
Right. They cater to specific needs, create a more dynamic ecosystem.
Exactly, yeah. So it's fascinating, isn't it? To see how the market's evolved from this, like, handful of brokers to this really complex,
Yeah.
interconnected system.
And it's still evolving.
It is. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And
Yeah.
and with India's economy continuing to grow, I mean, who knows what the future holds?
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be watching the Indian stock market.
It really is. And this brings up an interesting point, actually.
Okay. What's that?
So we talked about, all these exchanges and the regulations and the history. But one of the things that I think is really, really important to highlight is the rise of retail investors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We touched on this in part 2, but it's a major trend.
It is. It really is.
More and more individuals are participating in the market,
They are.
and it's changing the dynamics.
It is. It's like a democratization of finance, isn't it?
It is, because in the past, investing was seen as something that only wealthy individuals or institutions could do.
Right. It was like this exclusive club.
Yeah, but now, with online trading platforms and more awareness about financial literacy, it's becoming much more accessible.
It is. And that's a good thing, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good thing. Yeah. It's empowering people to take control of their financial futures.
Yeah, and it's driving growth in the market.
It is. It's injecting fresh capital. It's, boosting liquidity.
It's a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, absolutely. But
There are challenges, of course.
there are always challenges.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big ones is investor protection and education.
Right, because when you have more people entering the market, you need to make sure they have the knowledge and the tools to make informed decisions.
Absolutely. And I think that's where, financial literacy initiatives
Yeah.
and investor education programs,
They play a crucial role.
they become super important. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just about protecting investors from losses. It's also about helping them understand the opportunities,
As well.
helping them make the most of their investments.
Yeah. And I think, we've seen, especially in recent years,
Yeah.
a lot more emphasis on financial literacy,
Yeah, which is great.
which is fantastic. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a key part of the future of the Indian stock market.
Oh, definitely an educated investor is a smarter investor.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the future,
Okay.
we can't talk about the future of the Indian stock market without talking about technology.
Technology is a game changer.
It is. It's always been a game changer, and it will continue to be, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We've seen how electronic trading kind of revolutionized the market,
Yeah.
but the pace of innovation is just relentless.
It's not slowing down.
It's not slowing down at all. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so what are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, big data analytics.
It's all kind of converging, isn't it?
It is, and it has the potential to make the market even more efficient, transparent, accessible.
Imagine a future, right, where algorithms are helping us analyze market trends, where blockchain is ensuring secure and transparent transactions,
Yeah.
and where personalized financial advice is readily available to everyone.
It's an exciting vision.
It is. It's a very exciting vision.
Yeah.
But like with any powerful tool,
Yeah.
there are risks.
Of course, there always are.
Yeah, and we're talking about things like, cybersecurity threats, algorithmic biases, the potential for market manipulation.
Right, so it's not all sunshine and roses.
It's not. Yeah, so it's a balancing act,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's about embracing the benefits of technology while also putting safeguards in place.
Exactly. And this is where the role of regulators like SEBI becomes even more crucial.
Absolutely. They need to adapt and evolve to keep up with these advancements.
Yeah, and make sure that the market remains fair and transparent and secure for everyone.
It's a continuous process of learning and adapting.
Yeah, it's a never-ending challenge.
But it's a challenge worth taking on.
100%.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the global context, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Indian stock market doesn't exist in a vacuum.
It doesn't. It's increasingly intertwined with, global events and trends.
The interconnectedness of financial markets, it means that events in one part of the world can ripple across the globe.
Yeah, then we've seen this during global crises like the 2008 financial meltdown, right?
Yeah.
And more recently, the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, the Indian stock market, like others around the world, experienced volatility and uncertainty during those periods.
Yeah, and it just underscores that reality that, in today's world, no market operates in isolation.
We're all connected.
We're all connected, yeah. But this interconnectedness also brings opportunities.
Okay, how
But
so?
well, as India's economic influence grows,
Yeah,
its stock market is gaining more and more prominence on the global stage.
it's becoming a bigger player.
It is.
Yeah.
And India companies are expanding their global operations, they're attracting foreign investments,
Yeah.
and they're playing a larger role in kind of shaping the dynamics of the global financial system.
Yeah. So it's a two-way street. India is both influencing and being influenced by global trends.
It is, yeah. And as India continues its trajectory as this major economic power,
Yeah.
we can expect its stock market to become even more influential.
It's an exciting time to be watching the Indian stock market.
It is. It really is. So as we kind of move into the present
Yeah.
and look towards the future,
Yeah.
the Indian stock market is at this really fascinating crossroads.
Yeah, it's at a pivotal point.
It is. Its journey has been remarkable, but the story's far from over.
There's so much more to come.
There is. There is. So what's next for this dynamic market?
Yeah.
What role will it play in shaping the global financial landscape?
Those are the big questions.
They are.
Yeah.
And we're going to delve into those questions and more in our final part.
Can't wait.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into the history of the Indian stock market.
Time to wrap things up?
I know, it's gone by so fast.
It has.
It's been such a fascinating journey, though, hasn't it? It really has. We've seen so much. We've talked about, those early gatherings of brokers,
Yeah.
the introduction of technology, the growth of the market, and the emergence of India as a global financial powerhouse.
It's been incredible. And we've talked about how, the Indian stock market's at this really fascinating kind of juncture, poised for continued growth and transformation.
It's a really dynamic market.
It is. It is. So what does the future hold? What trends should we be watching?
Well, one trend we've talked about a lot is the rise of retail investors.
Yeah, we've mentioned it a few times, but it's really worth emphasizing.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, and it's not just about, more people investing. It's about the changing dynamics of the market.
Absolutely. In the past, the stock market was seen as this exclusive domain of institutional investors and high net worth individuals.
Like a members club or something.
Right. But now it's becoming much more democratized.
Yeah.
Everyday people are taking control of their financial futures.
Yeah, and that's got to be a good thing, right?
I think so. It's about empowering people.
Absolutely. And it injects, like we said, fresh capital into the market.
Yeah, it boosts liquidity.
Yeah, but of course,
With more participants comes more responsibility.
right. Yeah, there are challenges too.
We need to make sure that these new investors have the right tools and knowledge to make informed decisions.
Yeah, we talked about, financial literacy initiatives and investor education programs.
Those are going to be so crucial going forward.
Absolutely, because it's not just about protecting investors from losses. It's also about, like you said, helping them understand the opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah. Helping them reach their financial goals.
And we've seen, like I've definitely noticed, even just in the last couple of years, much more emphasis on financial literacy,
Oh, yeah. It's becoming more mainstream.
which is fantastic. And I think that's a really positive development. It's a key part of ensuring a healthy market environment.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, technology,
Ah, yes. Technology always changing the game.
always. I mean, we've already seen how electronic trading completely changed everything, but the innovations, they just keep on coming.
Yeah, the pace is relentless.
It's mind-boggling.
So what are we talking about here? What's next?
Well, we're talking about artificial intelligence, which, sounds scary to some people,
I know, right?
but it have the potential to really enhance the efficiency of the market, right?
Yeah. Algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data, identify trends.
Yeah, and then you've got blockchain technology, which, we hear about all the time.
Blockchain has the potential to make transactions more secure and transparent.
Yeah, and then there's big data analytics, which can help investors make more informed decisions.
It's all about using technology to empower investors.
Right, so imagine a future where, algorithms are helping us analyze market trends.
Yeah.
Blockchain is ensuring that all those transactions are secure.
Yeah.
And personalized financial advice is readily available to everyone.
It's an exciting vision, but
There's always a but.
there is. Technology also brings risks.
Of course, yeah, cybersecurity threats, algorithmic biases, we've got to be mindful of these things.
Absolutely. And that's where regulators come in.
Of course, yeah. SEBI and other regulators around the world, they have a huge role to play in kind of shaping this
Yes,
future.
they need to adapt and evolve, keep up with these technological advancements.
Yeah, because it's a continuous process of, you know, learning, adapting, finding that balance.
Exactly. Yeah. Innovation and oversight need to go hand in hand.
They do. And we've talked a lot about the Indian stock market, but let's not forget the global context.
We can't ignore the fact that markets are interconnected.
We can, and we've seen, during global crises, how events in one part of the world can have these ripple effects everywhere else.
Absolutely. Like the 2008 financial crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, those events impacted markets around the globe.
And it really underscored how connected we all are.
No market is an island.
Exactly, yeah. But this interconnectedness also creates opportunities for the Indian stock market.
Oh, absolutely. As India's economic influence grows, its stock market is becoming more prominent on the global stage.
Indian companies are expanding globally, attracting foreign investment.
It's a sign that India is a major player in the global economy.
And as India continues to rise, we can expect its stock market to become even more influential.
It's a story that's still being written.
It is. And it's been amazing to kind of, take this deep dive into the history of the Indian stock market.
It's been a real journey.
It has. And it's left me feeling, really optimistic about the future.
Me too. There are challenges, of course, but the opportunities are immense.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It is.
I want to thank you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this exploration of the Indian stock market.
And remember, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.
We'll see you next time.